It's so nice and loud.
Okay. One, I want to congratulate for the Blossom Time Parade. I heard there were some concerns about the color guard and everything like that. That was actually a National Honor Society project that we were doing with Shaquille Turner and Dr. Struthers, our advisor. So I really want to sit there and clear that part up because there was some confusion if it was not like a school related thing in the Blast and Time category. That's what I want to start with. This little speech is behalf on me and Armani Collins that could not be here today. Um, Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lazarus Ross. I'm a senior at Benton Harbor High School, and this is my last meeting on the School Board of Education as a student representative. Today, I want to highlight our amazing Miss Benton Harbor and Blossom Time Queen for her amazing service in Benton Harbor and our other school board representative. But unfortunately, she could not be here due to Blossom Time duties, but we wish her luck in her journey in getting accepted into Alabama A&M University. Go Bulldogs. Amani Collins will be studying secondary education and minoring in child development. We are so excited for Armani Collins and keep the Collins generation going and thriving. For me, I applied to numerous universities and got accepted into them, but my final decision was Davenport University for computer science and business courses for my four-year bachelor's degree. Go Panthers. For my next step after Davenport University, I'm going to Hollywood Arts Film Academy to train in theater and modeling to pursue my dream careers. I also want to add simulation, artificial intelligence, and 3D printing artifacts degree under my job skills to help support me in the future. I am honored to have been one of the student representatives of the School Board of Education and to salute the next generation of school student reps. I am so happy to have been selected for this amazing opportunity and hope to take this to the next journey in my life. Thank you all for supporting me and sticking beside me for all my decisions. I hope to make all of you proud. Thank you. Sincerely, Lazarus.
Well, I would like to say on behalf of the Board of Education, it's been a pleasure to have yourself and Armani here with us in this season. I wish that could have had you all longer, but we know that you have to graduate and we can't keep you beyond your senior year. So I just want to thank you all for stepping up. I'm proud of your student body for believing in you all as well. And I look forward to the greatness that you have in the future. So thank you. All right. And then you're more than welcome to leave at any point. You can stay as long as you like to. Okay. Next up, we're technically at board business. Our first item of business for this evening is the presentation of appreciation for Coach Kenny Jackson. And I'm going to ask that Mr. Van Hoven come forward.
It's on the actual mic. Yeah, hold it down for a couple of seconds. Oh, there it is.
Hello? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Lazarus, you are a tough act to follow, but congratulations to you because I've known you for the last 4 years and you've been amazing. So good luck. Can you guys hear me okay?
We can hear you.
All right. Good evening. My name is Michael Van Hoven. For those of you that don't know, I am the athletic director at Benton Harbor High School. First off, I would like to thank Dr. Butts, Mr. Corson, Mr. Morant, and of course, the Board of Education at Benton Harbor for allowing me to come and share this great information that I have and honor someone special. I have the honor of recognizing Coach Jackson for some things that most people wouldn't know about. We didn't win a game. I mean, he has won games, but this is not about winning a game or getting a championship or getting an award. It's about doing things behind the scenes that a lot of other people won't. So in the past, we have had coaches are positions in our athletic department that we can't find coaches. And if you don't have a coach, you don't have a team. And if you don't have a team, the student athletes do not get to participate. We've had that happen more often than not, and it's very frustrating. And I don't know what the answer to that is. With that said, over the last 6 years, Coach Jackson has stepped in 5 teams in addition to his being a coach and head coach of girls basketball, and he has helped us out with those 5 teams in the last 6 years. Middle school track. And by the way, the best part of this, I don't think Coach Jackson knew this is what we were doing tonight. He thought we were talking about the basketball gym floor because I was kind of trying to make it a little surprise. And so I think that's the coolest part. So middle school track, high school volleyball, middle school volleyball, high school softball, and high school football. He has put his hand in those things to help us and our student athletes. And some of those were paying jobs and some were not. And let's face it, the paying jobs in athletics are not that big anyhow. So this is a gentleman that has done so many great things. And I'm very proud to say that he's one of my colleagues. We have great coaches here. Coach Jackson just stepped up in this area. And I think without him, a lot of our student athletes wouldn't have been in some programs. So with that said, I would like to just take this time and have a little plaque for Coach.
Oh, wow.
And what the plaque says, the Kenny Jackson BHAS Special Department Athletic Award. Thank you for your over and above effort within the athletic department at BHAS. I'm sure Coach Jackson doesn't have enough gear, so we had this made for him. Nice hoodie, nice hoodie that he has.
Nice.
Oh, appreciate it.
Thank you, Board of Education, for letting me come
Thank
up here with
you.
Coach Jackson.
You're very
It's an honor
welcome.
for me.
Would you like to say something, Mr. Jackson? If you could say it in the mic, that would be awesome.
All right, so I had no idea about this. I had no idea about this, and I got my kids here. I didn't. That's probably gonna cost me money anyway. I know that. But I want to thank everybody just for having the opportunity to support the school, right? I mean, face it, just like he said, the athletic check's not that big anyway. So you got to do it for the love. And at the end of the day, it's about getting students to the next level of life. The majority of them, 99% of them will not go pro in the sport that they're playing. I can promise you that because I've seen them play. But that does not mean they can't be a doctor,
Right.
a lawyer, or even a teacher, dare I say. So I just hope that in some small way, that I inspired somebody out there just to end up being the credit to society. Thank you.
So I just want to say, I'm extremely excited that, the thought was provided to do this presentation for you, Coach Jackson, because you're definitely worthy. It should be noted that you do work a full-time job on top of everything you do. And I also know that you give your weekends to give private assistance to some of our students that need the extra support. So I thank you for your investment in the Tigers, and I thank your wife for being willing to share your time in order to ensure Benton Harbor area schools is successful. So thank you all very much. All right, so we're gonna move it right along. Up next, we technically have our Bearing Research 2024-2025 budget board report B1, Dr. Butts.
Thank you, Madam President. Reason for board consideration, Michigan law requires intermediate school districts to share their proposed operating budgets with local school districts each spring. Facts and Analysis, the ISD provided a copy of its proposed budget in April. State law requires that by June 1 of each year, the board of each constituent district shall review the proposed intermediate school district budget, shall adopt a board resolution expressing its support for or disapproval of the proposed intermediate school district budget, and shall submit to the intermediate school board any specific objections and proposed changes to the constituent district board has to the budget. The law further states that if an intermediate school board receives any specific objections or proposed changes, the intermediate school board shall consider the proposed budget changes. Policy reference 9, strategic plan reference 9, recommended action that the Board of Education vote to adopt the Berry and Risa budget resolution as presented.
Is there a motion to approve staff report B1?
Madam President, I put a motion on the floor to approve staff report B1.
Is there a second or support? The motion has been made by Vice President Bowens and supported by Trustee Rocket Martin. Any questions, comments, or concerns regarding staff report B1? Hearing none, Treasurer Creighton, can you please call the roll for vote?
President Robinson,
Yes.
Vice President Bowens,
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, Treasurer Creighton, yes. Trustee Rocket Martin,
Yes.
Trustee Gavin. Yes. Trustee Doyle, motion carried.
All right, next on the agenda, we're through with our board business. Next on the agenda, we're under superintendent updates, and with the presentation already taking place, we are now at partnership agreement update, strategic plan, and so on. Dr. Bus, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. As far as partnership updates, we just had a meeting the prior week. What we're doing is we have $30,000 worth of regional assistant grant that we have to spend, and we will have it spent down by June 16th. We also have some action steps to reach the district recruitment and training of certified teachers for summer school. We're also looking at we're doing a benchmark review, looking at the MyKIP for each school in the district and monitoring the strategies and uploading the data through the portals. We're also, Mr. Hopstock will share a vetted list of Michigan tutoring options. So what we're also looking at is high impact tutoring for the summer school and during the school year. And we're also looking at our graduation rate to determine those and get those updated. As far as the partnership agreement is. Strategic plan update, those plans, those updated plans will come after we do the legal portion, because those are tied to the district as we right size and as we get things straightened out,
Okay.
that will tie directly into that.
All right, and then the student enrollment and retention plan update. Thank you. Thank you.
So we've actually gotten started. The number of students that we aim to recruit is at least 100. The target audience, it will be our Hispanic population. So I've been on the phone and I've been in several meetings with the different leaders from our Hispanic residents here of Benton Harbor. What I found out is many of their students are sitting at home daily and not attending school at all, not unaware that they are able to attend school. What I have been invited to and have accepted will be to reach out to them through their churches, to their church organization, so that I can start to present to them the options that they have at our school. The second part is we're trying to develop a compelling school narrative with a clear message that highlight our unique strengths and values. So these are some things that we've begun to work on really quick. Some digital marketing, we've already updated our website, so we'll be putting out stuff on the website and on our social media, and trying to get with with some media supports to offer some virtual tours through some of our facilities. And then we're doing a traditional marketing, which are school events during the summertime. One of the things that we were looking at during the summer is through the summer feeding program. During the summer, the Sodexo has different sites during the summer where they go and the students pick up lunches. So what we've been just exploring is having the community roll bus at some of those sites with different activities. So one week we may have instruments on the bus, next week we may have games on the bus, next week we'll have something different on the bus. And with those, we'll have some registration, have some staffing out there to register students. So right now, this is what we're working on so far. We're also working on some student ambassadors to identify them so that they can come along, hopefully during the summer. We've got to explore different options. I don't know how it'll look. We haven't gotten to the finance part yet, but we'll look into that. And we've also kickstarted our forms being turned into electronic. So right now we're working on things like field trip forms, other in-house forms, but we're also trying to look at streamlining registration process so it can be in an electronic format as well, to give parents that ease of registering their child electronically versus the traditional hand sheets.
Okay, so I will, I'm gonna hold my comments and see if there's any questions or comments from the board. More than likely, you all may have the same feedback I do, so I'll wait. Vice President Bowens, and then we'll go Treasurer Craig.
I'm so glad to see the student recruitment plan for the upcoming school year. I know where our target audience, it says our Hispanic population, brothers and sisters. I do understand getting that target. That's the target I work with. However, we have people that have left the district that went down the street or out in the country in other schools that we should also be targeting. I believe that number, if I'm correct, probably a couple of years ago, 5 years ago, we were able to recruit 300 students in a summer back into the district. That 100 number, I understand what we're lowballing. Also, on the marketing, I see that we're doing email marketing. You guys want to do email and targeted mailers. I understand that. However, when I look on Facebook and social media, I see like St. Joe, Bering Springs, and all of those are encouraging people for school of choice. You know, I also, when I'm watching BMF or 911 on Hulu, I see Shoquay Pitchford's ads running on Hulu. So I think we should be targeting using stuff like the Bitten Spirit. Also, when we're making sure we're doing our advertisements, make sure that we are utilizing local students that have become a success. So we are making sure that they feel a part of it, you know, the community. This is their buy-in. Also, make sure we are putting stuff in our, you know, even if it's a billboard in Spanish language, well, the Spanish dialect or language, make sure we're doing that. I think this is a good start. We can make it strong. And if you remember, our previous superintendent was always, you know, while you were waiting to see a video, let's use some of our assets that we have, allowing our kids, and, you know, even if it's showing a graduation basketball game, let's make them part of the story. We've been through hell and back, and we're here to stay. It's something that is a success story, and what's worth giving our kids or somebody, a parent, a chance to make them think, I want to come back and be part of the district. Thank you.
Thank you, Treasurer Craig.
Thank you. Had a few questions. Number one, do we translate? Are these things translated when we say 100? Also, so that's a question I would like to answer, but I'm gonna go ahead and ask all of them and then you can just respond. So do we translate is one. On the agenda, it says recruitment and retention. What's the plan for retention, especially knowing from a financial standpoint, we're down $1 million, which equals like about 150 students. So what's our retention plan? Who is on the team? As much as I appreciate this seems like an EI version of just someone Googling or putting in EI, like a retention and recruitment plan. It does not seem specific to Ben Harbor. And so I'm just wondering, like, specifically, who is the team? What is our retention plan? Are we currently translating if we are looking to recruit the Hispanic population? More specifically, we have again about 30 support staff roles, like how are we utilizing them? I guess I was looking for something a little more specific. And so those are my questions and concerns.
Yes, ma'am, Treasurer Creighton. So the team, as starting out, we've been looking at some of the most of my ideas I've taken from the State Special Development Grant Team. So that's the team, the SPDIG team is coming up with the different MTSS processes and looking at our students. As far as the translation, we are working on the translation piece. Ms. Celia Orteros Rios does a lot of the translation with Soledad Martinez whenever we have our family liaison events, and when Ms. Rios goes to the different schools, she does a lot of the translating. The support staff, when I go as I started these meetings, what I will be asking is Mr. McDermott as the recruiter to come along so we can see if we can recruit some bilingual paras in the district. As we know, we have several openings for paras. And the retention plan for the students, we're still working on those retention plans to make sure that we retain what we have by making sure that we offer the credit recovery and other events that we have in school, like the esports. We have an esports team now that we have not been advertising like we should. So we got to pick up on our special programs that we have to retain the students so they'll know that what's available.
So again, if we're, I guess just to follow up, so
Yes, ma'am.
that's great. But if we are using digital marketing and it's in English and we're targeting a Hispanic population, let's just be mindful of those kinds of things.
Yes, ma'am.
You were finished, Treasurer Creighton?
No, but I
Oh.
digress.
Okay, so I want, the comments that I was gonna make, I knew that they would be made, and it was, so I'm just gonna reaffirm Vice President Bowen's point that, I'm excited that we're gonna target the Hispanic population, but we have, many students of all ethnicities that have left previously that we should be trying to, get back because they believed in Benton Harbor area schools at some point and something went wrong. So that's an entire population of students that we should be reaching out to, getting more information as to why they left. I think that's an important piece of the retention plan, having conversations with the parents that pulled their students so we can figure out what were the reasons that they did that, because we can't, what we're doing is putting Band-Aids on concerns or putting Band-Aids on issues and recruiting students, but we need to find out why the students are leaving from the parents' mouth, and that will help us with the retention. And then Treasurer Creighton's point to making sure that things are, that we have all versions, a Spanish version of our information that they're translated was an excellent point as well. The only thing that I really wanted to stress is that all of this looks great on paper. I really like the student ambassador piece. But we are in the midst of May. So my question is, with it being school of choice season for enrollment right now, which of these initiatives have we actually initiated? And I don't expect you to pinpoint for me right now, but this is just kind of a check for you all, being that we're in the middle of May. Have we actually started doing any of these things? Because I don't want us to get to July and we're still flushing the plan out, if that makes sense. I mean, we can use it ongoing, but we need to maximize the period currently.
Right, so that the part that I've already initiated, just reaching out to the target, what I put on top. I think there was a survey put out as far as the parents. I think there was a request from Trustee Gavin the last time.
Mhm.
And I gotta check on to see have we actually put that survey out? And if so, what data points we've gotten back or the
Okay.
responses we've gotten back, but I actually have started with this Hispanic population and I will work on the ones that left.
Okay, so my request at this particular time would be each of your ideas that you have that can be recruited right now, if you can get those assigned to someone as a small task so they can jumpstart.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Trustee Rocket Martin.
I know, might I also suggest maybe the students we already have, if we can do like a quick survey of them. What are your intentions? An intention survey. Do you intend on returning to the school district next year? I remember doing those in our buildings, just to give us a kind of a heads up or a target to know what we would have coming into our building next year, how many students. And so we could ask the parents of the students that we have right now, you know, what are your intentions? Are you planning to come back to the district? And if they say no, then that gives us a chance to talk with them and, you know, find out why not, or, you know, what's going on. So, and it proved to be helpful, you know, because it gives you a, like I said, a heads up or heading off some potential moving of students.
All right,
President Robinson.
trustee Guyman.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Butts. Just a few clarifying questions. You said that your target recruit number is 100. And what percentage of that 100 are you targeting the Hispanic population?
It was 100 Hispanic students to get into the district.
Oh, okay. So for clarity, you have no plan. Well, what is the percentage of African-American students in the district?
99%.
99%?
Yes, ma'am.
And so 99% is African-American students, and
And we have
do
a-
you have a plan for recruiting or retaining those students?
that's what Treasurer Creighton, Vice President Bowens, and Madam President was just giving me some advice on making sure that we retain the students that we have, and also see about the ones that have left and what concerns that I can address for them leaving, and see about getting those students to return.
May I ask just a couple more questions? What is the budget for recruitment activities? The budget for allotted for attendance? Because I'm thinking we also have some students who are not coming to school. And if there's a way to get them to come to school, find out why they're not coming to school, identify their needs, address those needs, that might be at the heart of your problem, of our problem, is, you know, understanding why they're not coming to school and what we can do to address those issues. What is the budget for attendance and for recruitment?
Don't have a budget for the attendance. I'm not understanding what you mean a budget for attendance. Are you talking about a truancy officer or?
Yeah, do we have a budget? I remember seeing somewhere in our finance report that there was a certain amount of money allotted to address our attendance issue. Is maybe Molly can, maybe Chief Vincent can help with that?
Hello, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
I think there's two different pieces to the question that you asked. One is around marketing and communications, and one is around student support services and around truancy specifically. At the beginning of the year, when we originally put the budget together, there was conversations about adding a truancy officer. That was approved in the budget. We haven't been able to move, that position hasn't been filled, or I don't think it was created yet from a board perspective. One of the things we have done is we've leveraged all of our youth advocates with having their caseload for making sure that they're calling and that they're going to homes and doing home visits to get students at school. And then around the marketing and communications, there was about a $30,000 proposal we were working with the communications on to be able to implement this year and next year.
Thank you. So $30,000 for marketing, and what's the amount allotted for truancy that we haven't spent yet?
Hold on one second while I pull up the correct spreadsheet.
President Robinson, I make a comment.
Yeah.
I was just to trustee Gavin's point, I think, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but there doesn't seem like there is a sense of urgency here. Like, this is a state of emergency to lose $1 million in students and to be at the table with people who we are spending several $1 million on. I mean, I just don't, I'm really struggling right now because there doesn't seem like there's a state of emergency from anyone on staff. Like we just we gotta pick up the pace.
I don't mean to interject. I know Chief Vincent was still answering trustee Gavin's question, but my question is, I want to make sure I heard you correctly. You said we have $30,000 that's budgeted for marketing purposes?
Yes.
Okay. You can, were you looking for another answer for her?
Yeah, the other item I looked up was in our function code for truancy, which is around absenteeism, the $105,000 that was originally budgeted there.
Thank you so much. And so what I would say is that we do have an absenteeism issue. We have $105,000 set aside for that, and we're in the middle of May. And I think that I've asked if there's a plan around that, and I would hope that we would also plan not just for our Hispanic students, which I would love for us to accommodate and get the International Academy back, but also the students here and the ones who have left. Thank you.
Molly, just as a follow-up to that question, would you mind doing us a favor and letting us know out of this year's budget, the 30,000 for marketing and the 105 for truancy, how much of that was spent? Like, did we actually utilize that? I'm sure we did, but we don't see the numbers.
I'll send a follow-up after.
Okay.
And
Thank you
it's
so much.
possible to find out from student services, who is handling this?
So the follow-up question is, who is responsible for the marketing budget and the truancy budget as well?
Not necessarily the budget, but the work.
Right.
Who's doing the work?
And Madam President,
Yep, and then we're gonna proceed to the next
my
item.
question is that marketing for the whole district? Or is that marketing for recruitment as far as the funds?
I can follow up with you.
Okay,
Thank you.
that would be amazing for us, a clarification for us. So thank you so much for that follow-up. So that question was the $30,000 marketing budget, just at minimum for this year, whether or not that is strictly for Benton Harbor area schools budget marketing, or if it's for recruitment, and retention for students. It could be for HR related purposes, but just that clarification for us. And then the 105,000 for the truancy budget, whether or not all of that was utilized. I know that we have an amendment to the budget as well, but just clarification for us, because we'll have to dig for it. What of that funds was utilized? And then Treasurer Creighton would also like to know who's monitoring the work in these two areas, or doing the work, who's assigned. All right, if there's no other questions, Dr. Buss, I don't believe you have an update, correct? Because you had reports under your update. Do you have more updates to provide in this section?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so then we're gonna proceed with teaching and learning. We had the Benton Harbor High School MSU field trip staff report.
President Robinson,
Yes,
I'm sorry. So these staff reports, S1 and S2,
they were removed.
they
They were, yep. So let me give you the updates. No S1, S2, no F3. As
No
far as what
closed
we vote
session.
on, and no closed session.
okay. And Dr. Butts, there was another document that you
H2, no H2.
indicated you were gonna add to the agenda. Is that? Where's that document?
That did not get added, trustee Gavin. I didn't get a chance to get Liz to get that added. I can add it now if you want to put a resolution on the floor.
What is that what's the? Are we
The
familiar with
document
this
from
document?
it's a policy committee document.
Were we supposed to take a vote for you today?
Yes, it would have been really good to take a vote because it is a resolution of support for an appropriations request to basically for the legislation to fund public education.
Oh, okay. Was this something, and I had no knowledge of it, that's why I'm asking. I didn't even know regarding your request. Was I copied on the request?
I'm
I don't
not sure
think-
I gave it Dr. Butts.
You were not, we just had the meeting.
Point of order, is this something that needs to be on, is this something that's on the agenda or needs to be added under new business, or what are we discussing right now?
Well, I'm just seeking so this is a resolution I have no knowledge of, so I'm seeking clarification to see if it was something I missed and whether, in asking her specifically, is it something she wants to do today? Or is it something, is it time sensitive to where we can't do it in the work session coming?
It is time sensitive. If I would like to make a motion to add a resolution to the agenda.
Okay, are you wanting to place that under new business?
Yes, please.
Okay. Okay, so you can, okay, so you can go ahead and put your motion on the floor, trustee Gavin, to amend the agenda to allow for that resolution.
I would like to make a motion to amend the agenda to add a resolution for Ben Harbor Area Schools to support fully funding Michigan schools under new business.
Is there a second or support for that amendment? And this is not, of course, we're not voting on the resolution, we're voting to amend the agenda so she can bring the resolution forward to us. Is there a second or support? Is there a second or support? Okay, the motion has been made by trustee Gavin and supported by trustee Rocket Martin. Any questions, comments, concerns before we take a quick vote?
Where is this information? Has this information been shared?
I think Dr. Buss is about to try to get it to us now.
Is this like a surprise? Do we have any, I'm just wondering.
I have, so what I've understood is that it's a request that trustee Gavin made to Dr. Buss, and Dr. Buss forgot to place it on the agenda in oversight, so I have no knowledge
It
of
was
it. I haven't
oversight.
previewed it.
It was from a special called policy meeting on Monday night.
Oh, yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday. I'm sorry. It seems so far away.
Okay.
Is the motion?
Any additional questions, comments, or concerns?
Is it possible, President Robinson, does it have to be added to the agenda in order for the board to, it should have been on there. So I'm wondering if it's possible that the board can see it, if Dr. Butts can make it available to the board to review it. It's a short,
Okay.
2-page resolution just indicating that we support fully funding schools and just informing us that Michigan schools are underfunded by $4.5 billion in comparison to other schools.
Okay.
And there are some other requests that the state invest in public education, special education, ensuring that mental health dollars remain at 300 million, doubling the amount of money appropriated to English language learners, providing $15 million investment in the 17 Michigan cities where Black residents are the majority, forgiving the outstanding debt for Flint Community Schools.
Okay. Treasurer can call a vote so we can see if we can get it added.
So is this to add it or
Just add
Hold
it,
on.
yeah, to add it so that we can take a vote on it. So we're not voting right now. This is just to amend the agenda to allow us to vote on it or review and take a vote on it.
So is this something we could table or we have to call the vote first?
Just asking that we
She's-
consider it
I'm
because
asking President Robinson.
I'm sorry.
So what she's wanting to do, so what the vote that you're taking right now is whether you want to amend the agenda for it. So if you
Okay.
think that right now, if you don't feel comfortable amending the agenda, then your vote would be no. Okay. So, Treasurer Creighton, can you please call the vote?
I was waiting on somebody. Sorry. President Robinson,
Yes.
Vice President Bowens.
No.
Secretary Triplett not here. Treasurer Creighton, no. Trustee Raquel Martin.
Yes.
Trustee Gavin.
Yes.
Okay, motion passed. So we're gonna add that to new business, the trustee Gavin's resolution. And then we'll take the vote on whether we want to support it at that time. So we're gonna jump back up. We are technically at the Benton Harbor High School MSU field trip. And to the public that is present with us, I appreciate you all for sticking in with us as we try to work through having 5 members and 2 and a secretary missing, but we're gonna work on through this thing. All right, so up next, Dr. Buss, if you could present staff report T1.
Thank you, Madam President. This is a field trip for Michigan's, to Michigan State University. And prior to my, presenting the facts and analysis for board approval, if I'll ask Mr. Alexander to come up and talk about this field trip.
Thank you, Mr. Alexander.
Thank you. Can you hear me well?
Mm-hmm.
Good afternoon. This field trip is on May 20th through the 22nd. We're taking approximately, well, not approximately, 52 students, 28 boys, 24 girls, between grades 9 through 11. The students were selected based off their grades, their attendance, their behavior, and teacher recommendations. We also looked at their EDPs and see what their post-secondary goals are. All the students express college or some form of post-secondary education. There are 3 women chaperones, Cheryl Cowles, Jasminica Newburn, and Cindy Goodson. For the males is myself and DeMarcus Bland. One of our male chaperones, he elected to stay back to attend the Harbor Shores event with his students at Cape. So we're gonna fill that in today when I meet with with Mr. Morant. When we get there on Monday, we're gonna check in to the we stand in Bailey's Hall. It's part of the Brody complex. The students will have separate wings, girls on one side, boys on the other. On Tuesday, we have a classroom session where we have a STEM presentation. We have someone from the facility for rare isotope beans. He's going to do a presentation on research and different careers in that field. We also have a tour of the 4-H Children's Garden. So the students have a chance to tour the garden, do the activities within the garden. And they also have the chance to visit the recreation center, go on the walking trails, and mingle with the college students. On Wednesday, we're going to have breakfast, take our annual picture in front of the Spartan Head, and then head back to Benton Harbor. We'll get here roughly around 1:30. So the students will be here in time for dismissal to ride the bus home. So just thinking about the goals of it, I just wanted to increase the awareness because there's a lot of misconceptions about college and what it's about, how it looks. So last year when we took the trip, a lot of students didn't realize that they can have their own room. They didn't realize that some of the rooms are nice, the bathrooms are nice, the food is different. You have different varieties of options of food. And just want to give them, just change the mindsets. So I know we've been pushing post-secondary goals and post-secondary ideas on our students and giving them that real life experience in the university or at the university to spark that idea or that thought to go to college. Any questions?
Are there any questions for Mr. Alexander? Vice President Bowen?
I'm a supporter of this. I just got a question on the STEM. This is STEM, correct? It's their specialty, correct? I'm sorry, you guys are trying to push them towards STEM, correct?
Oh, no, when I was looking at the MSU extension, I saw that they had a STEM program, well, a department for STEM. And I know we've been trying to push them a little bit, but I always say early exposure is good exposure. So some of our kids don't know what they want to do, so just trying it out might give them that idea like, oh, this is the field I want to go into, because there's so many varieties of careers in STEM.
So I guess my question is, do we have a STEM teacher at the high school? And if so, are they on this trip?
So as of right now, we do not. Next year, we do have that in the course guide. I believe it's Metrotronics, robotics. But she is not on this trip. She's not on this trip.
Okay.
Any other questions from the board? Okay, thank you, Mr. Alexander. At this time, I'll ask, I know we were presented this in the work session, correct? This isn't new.
No, it's not.
Okay, at this time, I'll ask, is there a motion to approve staff report T1?
So moved.
Is there a second or support? Okay, the motion has been made by trustee Gavin and supported by trustee Rocket Martin. Are there any additional questions, comments, or concerns from the board? Hearing none, Treasurer Creighton, can you please call the vote for staff report T1?
President Robinson,
Yes.
Vice President Bowens,
Yes.
Treasurer Creighton, yes. Trustee Rocket Martin,
Yes.
trustee Gavin,
Yes.
motion carried.
All right, next we have the FPE Lincoln Park Zoo Field Trip Staff Report T2.
Reason for board approval, the board shall approve field trips and other district-sponsored field trips that are planned to keep students out of the district overnight or longer or out of the state. Facts and analysis, Fairplain East Elementary requests permission to take their students on a PBIS end of the year field trip to visit Lincoln Park Zoo in Chicago, Illinois. This field trip is in line with their study of different regions of the United States. The trip is scheduled for Tuesday, June 4, 2024. The trip will accommodate an estimated 155 students. It is estimated that there will be an estimated 13 chaperones. This field trip will be funded with Title I federal funds. Policy reference 2340 field trips and other district-sponsored trips. Strategic plan reference, academics, Benton Harbor area schools will increase student achievement as measured on local, state, and national assessment. Learning environment, Benton Harbor area schools will develop, maintain, and implement with fidelity a multi-tiered system of supports that enhances the culture and learning environment. Recommended action that the Benton Harbor Area School Board of Education votes to approve the field trip to the Lincoln Park Zoo in Chicago, Illinois, as presented.
Is there a motion to approve staff report T2?
Support.
You're making the motion.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Madam
Okay.
President, I make a motion to approve staff report T2.
Is there a second or support?
Support.
The motion has been made by Vice President Bowens and supported by trustee Gavin. Any additional questions, comments, or concerns regarding staff report T2? Hearing none, Treasurer Creighton?
President Robinson,
Yes.
Vice President Bowens,
Yes.
Treasurer Creighton, yes. Trustee Rocket Martin,
Yes.
trustee Gavin,
Yes.
motion carried.
All right, and then Dr. Buzz did share the resolution with everyone. It's in your email if you have an opportunity to glance. All right, next up, thank you, Dr. Buzz, for presenting and for teaching and learning today. Next up, we have human resources. The only reports that we have, I think, is staff report H1 and staff report H3. Mr. McDermott.
Greetings, everyone. Staff report H1, reason for board consideration, a list of employees whose employment relationship with the district is or will be separated is submitted to the board each month. Facts and analysis is recommended that the Board of Education votes to accept the separation of employment of the following staff. Policy reference 3140, 4140, resignation of professional and support staff. Strategic plan goal reference, personnel leadership. Benton Harbor area schools will recruit, hire, develop, and retain the best staff to improve student outcomes. First name we have is Ms. Rita Hassel from the position of TNT Math at Fairplain Middle School. Second name we have is Ms. Regina Joseph, TNT Chemistry at the high school. Recommended action that the Benton Harbor Area Schools Board of Education votes to accept the separation of employment of the aforementioned staff.
Is there a motion to approve staff report H1?
Madam President,
Yes.
I put a motion on the floor to approve staff report H1.
Is there a second or support? Is there a second or support? The motion has been made by Vice President Bowens and supported by Trustee Rocket Martin. Any additional questions, comments, or concerns from the board?
President Robinson?
Trustee Gavin?
Just wondering, if, the HR department reached out for an exit interview. I know that it says that the interview hasn't been completed. I'm wondering if we can have the date in which the people were, contacted for an interview in this field. I asked because some people are saying that they, that they wanted to submit exit interviews, and so.
So essentially you're saying, like in the section where it says exit interview completed, not yet offered such and such date or something like that?
Yes, please. Even if they don't want to fill out the document, is there an exit interview conversation,
Mr.
that takes place?
Mr. McDermott?
I can provide you those dates. We offer it if the individual chooses to do it in person or fill out the form we have. We did not get a response, or we respond based on what we receive. I can double check and I'll provide those specific dates to the superintendent.
Okay.
So what she's asking is to see him on like the board reports.
Oh,
So you
that
could
change,
do-
we can make that change, yes,
Okay.
moving forward.
Okay, thank you for that. And just for clarity, is it our process to contact them and like, I know sometimes it's like, okay, resignation received, thanks, bye. Like, do we have a process of actually reaching out to them to relationship build and connect and find out, if some of this might be on us to correct and to retain them? Is any of that happening as a process?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Hearing none, Treasurer Creighton, can you call the vote for staff report H1?
President Robinson,
Yes.
Vice President Bowens,
Yes.
Treasurer Creighton, yes. Rocket Martin, Trustee Gavin,
Yes.
motion carried.
Next up, staff report H3.
Submitted for board consideration to approve the employment of staff in accordance with the revised school code and other general laws of Michigan. Facts and analysis, it is recommended that the board approves the superintendent's recommendation for the hire of the following personnel. Policy reference 3120 and 4120, employment of professional and support staff. Strategic plan goal reference, professional leadership, personnel and leadership. Benton Harbor area schools will recruit, hire, develop, and retain the best staff to improve student outcomes. Presenting to you today, we have Miss Amy Dent, social studies teacher at Benton Harbor High School. Recommended action that Benton Harbor area schools Board of Education votes to approve the employment of the aforementioned staff.
Is there a motion to approve staff report H3? Is there a second or support?
Second.
The motion has been made by Trustee Rocket Martin and supported by Trustee Bowens. Any additional questions, comments, concern?
Just a
You have the floor.
Just a quick question. This is not a transfer of a position. This is a new hire in.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. And then I know that initially we were, or at least for a second, we were getting the resume along with, just, so we didn't just have the name of the person that we were approving. Is it possible to put that back into our process?
Definitely will.
Okay, thank you so
And that was
much.
oversight on my part.
All is well.
Vice President Bowens?
Clarification, I was under the impression well, let me rephrase that. I was under the impression that it was a transfer.
No, this individual has been associated with the district for this current school year in a different role, in a different entity. With our goal to recruit certified staff, we saw it fit to make that move and secure a certified social studies teacher for the high school, starting this year to make sure we have continued staff moving forward
Okay, so she's a certified teacher working,
with another
Entity.
entity.
so is that entity working as our supplier, third party?
I won't say they're working as our supplier, no.
Okay.
Point
you
of
see where-
clarity.
Sorry. It's like, I don't know if you see where it's getting confusing. Like, I was under the impression that there was a EduStaff employee that was certified that was coming into the district.
Correct. But I never want to classify them as a supplier.
Yeah, I'm
So,
sorry.
yes.
Shouldn't say supplier, but, so you see where it looks like it's a transfer now?
Well, we do not have, so for the purposes of presenting names to the board, the contract as currently written with EduStaff, they are not board-approved employees.
Okay.
So this is no different than, sorry to name a vendor, a first student employee deciding to now join Benton Harbor Area Schools as a paraprofessional. So even though they may be associated with the district, they're joining the district in a district position.
Okay, thank you, and I apologize.
No, that's.
Okay, so just in processing that conversation, because we just took 3 minutes, we just took 3 minutes to get essentially the clarification to answer trustee Gavin's question. So sometimes we may not necessarily word it correctly, but the answer that you just gave us after more inquiries is what she was asking. Okay, because I mean, we know that they're technically Edge's staff, but they're all our staff, even though their employer is someone different. This is their home to us as well. So, okay. All right, if there's no other discussion on staff report H3, Treasurer Creighton, can you please call the vote?
President Robinson,
Yes.
Vice President Bowens,
Yes.
Treasurer Creighton, yes. Trustee Rocket Martin,
Yes.
Trustee Gavin,
Yes.
motion carried.
All right, thank you, Mr. McDermott, for your presentations today. Next, we're gonna move to Chief Corson. He's gonna provide the facilities and student support services updates.
Good evening, Board of Education. Would you like me to proceed with the update, or would you like me to move directly into SSS 1 and 2?
You can move directly into the reports. I believe you gave us the updates at the work session.
Staff report SSS 1, approval of asphalt patching, submitting for board consideration. The Board of Education shall approve all purchases over the most recent State of Michigan Department of Education threshold of $29,572. Facts and analysis, the asphalt patching will refinish the surface of potholes. The current parking infrastructure is marred with numerous hazards that should be addressed for the physical safety of our families and staffs. It is recommended that the board award this work to Bailey Asphalt to complete the repairs at 5 locations for Benton Harbor area schools. The source of the fund for this initiative is Sinking Fund 17, Policy Reference 6320, Purchasing 6325, Procurement, Federal Grants and Funds, Strategic Plan Reference, Facilities and Operations. Benton Harbor area schools will develop, implement, and evaluate a fiscally responsible plan that will ensure physical and psychological safety. Recommended action that the Benton Harbor Area Schools Board of Education votes to approve the payment of Bailey Asphalt in the amount of $40,837 to cover the cost of repairs to the parking lots.
Okay, thank you, Chief Corson. One clarification that I wrote down from last meeting is that this is for the occupied buildings only, correct?
That is correct.
All right. Is there a motion to approve staff report SSS 1? Is there a motion to approve staff report SSS 1?
Madam President,
Yes.
I put a motion on the floor that we approve staff report SS 1.
SSS 1? Is there a second or support? The motion has been made by Vice President Bowens and supported by Trustee Rocket Martin. Any additional questions from the board? All right, hearing none. Treasurer Creighton, can you please call the vote?
President Robinson,
Yes.
Vice President Bowens,
Yes.
Treasurer Creighton, yes. Trustee Rocket Martin,
Yes.
Trustee Gavin,
Yes.
motion carried.
All right, next we have staff report SSS 2.
Submitting for board consideration, the Board of Education shall approve all purchases over the most recent State of Michigan Department of Education hold of $29,572. Faxes and analysis, teachers and staff have aging devices with a portion of the fleet dating back to 2016. Upgrades to technology are necessary to remain competitive and to support our educational goals. It is recommended that the board purchase devices from CDWG for Benton Harbor area school staff. Source of the funding for this initiative is general funds. Policy reference 6320 purchasing, 6325 procurement, federal grant and funds, strategic plan reference, learning environment. Benton Harbor area schools will develop, maintain and implement with fidelity a multi-tiered system of support that enhances the culture and learning environments. Recommended action that the Benton Harbor Area Schools Board of Education votes to approve the payment of CDWG in the amount of $113,775.09 to cover the cost of staff devices.
All right, is there a motion to approve staff report SSS2?
I make a motion that we approve staff report SS2. And I would like to document that there is a plan to dispose of the old devices and potentially given to students.
Is there a second or support?
Support.
The motion has been made by Treasurer Creighton and supported by Trustee Gavin. Any additional questions, comments, or concerns regarding staff report SSS2? All right, hearing none, Treasurer Creighton, can you please call the vote, please?
President Robinson,
Yes.
Vice President Bowens,
Yes.
Treasurer Creighton, yes, Trustee Rocket Martin,
Yes.
Trustee Gavin,
Yes.
motion carried.
All right, and I believe we maintained a finance committee update for Treasurer Creighton for this week. Did you have an update that you wanted to give us, or would you like to maintain it for the work session?
So we don't have an update.
Okay.
We do have to provide. We were going to be presented with some information about the rebudgeting. And we're gonna have a special meeting to talk about that.
Okay,
So
we can
I'm gonna
defer that
defer
for
to
that.
Molly.
All right, you have the floor, Chief Vincent.
Good evening. We have two reports that I will be asking for votes on tonight. The first one is a monthly financial report. If you look at F1, the reason for board consideration is the set of financials will be provided to the Board of Education each month. This evening, it is recommended that for the month of March 1st to the 31st, the payments be approved for all the district funds. Policy reference is 6470, payments of funds. The strategic plan goal reference is facilities and operations. Benton Harbor area schools will develop, implement, and maintain a fiscally responsible plan that will ensure physical and psychological safety. The recommended action is that the Board of Education approve the March 1st and March 31st, 2024 payments for the following funds. For the general fund, it's $878,883.52. For food service fund, it's $162,063.32. For the 2007 sinking fund, it's $543.48. And for the student activity fund, it's $907.50. The total of that of our purchases was $1,042,397.82.
All right, is there a motion to approve staff report F1?
Make a motion to approve staff.
Is there a second or support?
Support.
The motion was made by Trustee Rocket Martin and supported by Vice President Bowens. Any additional questions, comments, or concerns from the board? Hearing none, Treasurer Creighton?
This is a full-time job.
I know.
President Robinson,
Yes.
Vice President Bowens,
Yes.
Treasurer Creighton, yes, Trustee Rocket Martin,
Yes.
Trustee Gavin,
Yes.
motion carried.
All right, I appreciate you for doing that because I knew I couldn't tally that sheet, and I can multitask with the calls, but not the writing down part. All right, so next up we have summer tax collections, Molly, staff report F2.
If you look at staff report F2, the reason for board considerations, each year the board votes on a resolution to levy 100% of the school property tax during the summer. Facts and analysis by levying 100% of the district school property tax during the summer payable by mid-September, the district is able to reduce the amount of funds borrowed in the state and note borrowing program, thereby reducing annual borrowing cost. This year's resolution includes the authorization of the superintendent or the CFO to approve summer property tax collection agreements with local government units that collect BHAS school property taxes in the summer. The local governments included are the city of Benton Harbor, Bainbridge Township, Benton Township, Hager Township, Pipestone Township, St. Joseph Township, Sodus Township, and the city of St. Joseph. There's no policy reference. The strategic plan reference is facilities and operation. Benton Harbor area schools will develop, implement, and evaluate a fiscally responsible plan that will ensure its physical and psychological safety. It's recommended that the Board of Education vote to approve as presented the proposed annual summer tax resolution for 2024.
Is there a motion to approve staff report F2?
So moved.
Is there a second or support?
Second.
The motion has been made by Treasurer Creighton and supported by Vice President Bowens. Any questions, comments, or concerns? I know I did request that we triple check and make sure we had all of our municipalities listed. We were able to do that?
Yes.
Okay. All right, if there's no other questions, Treasurer Creighton, can you please call the vote for staff report F2?
President Robinson,
Yes.
Vice President Bowens,
Yes.
Treasurer Creighton. Yes. Trustee Rocket Martin,
Yes.
Trustee Gavin,
Yes.
motion carried.
All right, next up, Miley, staff report F3, the mid-year budget amendment.
This is the one I had.
Oh, you took that off, okay. Oh, so we're technically at old business. Thank you, Dr. Butts, for the reminder. Old business is board training opportunities. I know that you all were able to have an amazing work session. We do still want to try to get a training for effective board meetings and our financial trainings. With all of the special meetings and the things that we have coming up. I don't have a date for that, but I will make sure that that's a part of our summer retreat. And also in considering that, just keep in mind that we have a touch base for Dr. Butts for evaluation that we have to do because I believe we finalized evaluation in February for the previous school period, so we need to do the first checkpoint as well. And so I'm thinking about combining those with that, so we can use our time effectively. Next up, we have new business, the resolution. I know Trustee Gavin, I'm gonna pass the floor to you so you can present.
Quickly,
Go ahead.
for old business,
Go ahead. You have the floor.
oh, can we set a date for that?
Yeah.
Just so that we don't lose sight of what's
That we
going
need to
on.
do it, absolutely. With us being in the month of May, we can jump into June. Our June board meeting would be June 11th. Our work session, I believe, would be what, the 25th? So do you guys want to try to shoot for June 15th or June 22nd, a Saturday?
Oh, I wasn't recommending that we do a weekend,
Oh, you want to do it during a weekday?
so what are we doing again?
Evaluation checkpoint with Dr. Butts and then the trainings, whichever training we have on that day. That's your birthday? Oh, Dr. Butts would like us to be aware the 27th is his birthday of June.
President Robinson?
Yes.
I would like for us to, go ahead and schedule the checkpoint. And then, we can do that during the week. I just don't want to say something so important and required. So we can retreat and then the entire board can't attend again.
Okay. We can do, in looking at June, let me see. Does the 18th work for you all?
Can we add this to the agenda for the work session? The next work session?
That's the 28th? I think we can make that happen. Let me check into that.
If the agenda is organized, I
Yeah,
think
we can get through it.
Yep, because we've
Okay.
gotten through this fairly quickly.
Okay. So we're gonna try to shoot for our work session, which is May 28th, I'm sorry. And see if we can do our checkpoint then.
What would stop us?
Nothing should be able to. All right,
President Robinson,
yes. You have another old business topic or you
yeah,
want your
just a
new
que-
business?
Yeah, a question about the training. I know that there was a request to Chief Vincent if we can get training on Munetrics. And I'm wondering if that can be folded into this training so that we can be clear on our finance tool.
Okay, I can follow up with Chief Vincent, and I just thought I'll have to follow up with you guys too, because I just thought about the fact that we're in a new evaluation tool now, and we all have to be trained on that tool by a certain date. Does anybody remember?
When
what
does
date
it
that is?
start?
I think you.
When
It's
does it-
after July
I
first.
think so.
So that's just a pinpoint, and I'm gonna go back and look at that, because I don't know the dates for certain. But I don't, so I'm gonna put the evaluation that's another training that we all have to take, is why I'm notating it. So we can learn how to do the new evaluation.
But it won't stop us from doing the checkpoint, correct?
No,
Thank you.
okay. And so Gavin is looking into Munetrics, or would like us to look into that, and then the evaluation training, I have to follow up on that.
To be honest, President Robinson,
Yes.
Miss, Chief Vincent was going to check on that and potentially, take a training, so, can we see if she has a update for trustee Gavin?
Yep. Chief Vincent, do you have an update you'd like to provide?
I was able to confirm that if our delegate, our sales president from Munetrics is available, he is able to come and do a training with the board. So once we finalize that date, I'll be happy to coordinate and connect with Marty.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so what I have noted as our, right now, we're gonna do our first checkpoint with Dr. Buss during the work session on the 28th. And then our training topics, we know we have to do the new tool evaluation. I have to check that. I believe that Barry and Risa sent it out. And then we're following up on Munetrics. We'll get the date from Molly, effective board meetings, and then the finance piece that we need. Okay, so we're gonna proceed to new business and pass the floor to trustee Gavin, and my phone died, so I'm gonna be reading along with Dr. Buss. You have the floor, trustee Gavin.
Okay, thank you so much, President Robinson. So I do apologize for the timing on this, but this was dropped on my desk from the Michigan Education Justice Coalition. That is the organization that did a lot of advocating to help get our debt forgiven, along with some other schools throughout the state. And they have been advocating with a lot of our state legislators to make sure that public schools are fully funded. At their last press conference, Representative Regina Weiss, who is the chairperson of the House of Representatives for the state of Michigan. She's the chairperson of the Education Funding Committee. She was one of the speakers at their press conference. In the past, they've also had the board president, Pamela Pugh, speak at their events as well. And so this resolution is an opportunity for us to weigh in on a very important topic of fully funding schools in Michigan, especially public schools that have a population like ours. And so the policy committee had had an opportunity to read this fully yesterday, along with Dr. Butts. There was just one minor change to the document. And that was there's a line that says the Board of Education directs the president. They said instead of that, that feels like too compulsory, right? And so we just wanted to make the change that the Board of Education agrees to send this resolution to our state representatives and state senator. I'm happy to read the document. The reason why it's like something that would be great for us to weigh in now is because they are about to make a decision about their funding. So it'll be really great for us to weigh in on the front end of that. And so if you all would like me to read it, I'd be happy to.
Would you all like her to read through it, or you guys have it? Okay. So the resolution would only have one, you said it would be instead of,
Directs the board president.
it would be agrees to
Agrees
send
to.
this resolution? Okay, so for me, who would be sending it? Would that be your office? Okay.
And I have the to go without the change, but I thought I changed it in Senate, but it changed it back, I see.
Oh, okay.
Point of clarity,
You have the floor.
who's making the recommendation and reading the resolution or the staff report?
Trustee Gavin is gonna,
I'm just wondering if it's
Just
coming
reading the
from the
report.
office of superintendent or is it coming, who is it coming from?
the Board of you're having it, so your resolution is from us?
Yes, it would be from the Board of Education. We did get the recommendation of Superintendent Butts, is that correct?
Yeah, he asked to speak. Go ahead, Dr.
Yes.
Bus, my apologies.
That's okay. Thank you, Madam President. And for a little bit more clarity, and thank you, Trustee Gavin. We met on this it feels like last week. Last night we met on this and I did read through it. Basically, it is a call for action for the state to equitably fund underprivileged schools. There are I can't remember the amount of millions of dollars.
4.5 billion are.
Okay, so billions of dollars that's out there to fund. One of the things that Trustee Gavin had asked for was, what would it cost to look at the cost to bring down student enrollment, student teacher ratio, excuse me. Part of this in lobbying for this would help push those funds to our school district to help lower the classroom student teacher ratio. So since there was so much money out there, her lobby request is that the board get behind trying to secure some of these monies to do such. So the only thing I saw in correction was, instead of directs the board president, is that the board itself asks for some of those funds to be directed to help reduce our class size, which would put more money in our general fund budget and would allow us to hire more teachers.
Okay, so you all would be essentially just taking the resolution and mailing it forward with the vote with Dr. Butts?
Yes, ma'am, with the corrected language, because I don't want to say directs anymore.
Okay, and then my only question, would it be too much to say something about being appreciative for the debt forgiveness? Or do you think that's irrelevant to the conversation?
I think that's great. I think there is something in here.
Because I know that
Yeah.
we want more funding, but I don't want it to look like, we just got millions of dollars waived and then we're coming back with,
I have a question.
you have the
Is
floor.
there a motion on the floor?
She's just presented, no motion has been made yet.
I'm just wondering, we're having discussion about
Yeah.
something that's not. a
Okay,
motion.
so trustee Gavin, you read through your resolution. So is there a motion
Has it
to?
been read? That's what I was waiting to hear, the
But I
resolution.
will if.
Go ahead, proceed.
Okay.
Thank you for keeping us on track.
No problem.
Resolution in support of full and equitable funding of Michigan schools, whereas the Benton Harbor Area Schools Board of Education acknowledges and expresses appreciation for the historic investments in education made by the state of Michigan in 2023-2024 school aid fund budget. Whereas the Benton Harbor Area Schools Board of Education recognizes that the state of Michigan education budget must be further increased to address additional needs of Michigan students, parents, caregivers, and community members. Whereas in 2018, the School Finance Research Collaborative completed a school finance adequacy study to determine the true cost of ensuring all of Michigan's students meet state standards. This study was updated in 2021. The report recommended a weighted funding formula for special education students, those living in poverty, English learners, and career and technical education. Additionally, the SFRC study acknowledged the need for additional funding for transportation of students, rural isolation, the state pension system, and adequate facilities. Whereas the Benton Harbor Area Schools Board of Education recognizes that schools in Michigan have been inequitably funded for decades and continue to be inequitably funded in a manner that makes achieving educational equality for all students in the state of Michigan nearly impossible. Whereas the Benton Harbor Area Schools Board of Education believes that the resources used to fund Michigan schools, primarily taxpayer dollars, should be controlled by community stakeholders and thereby reflect the needs and wishes of said stakeholders. Now therefore be it resolved that one, the Board of Education directs the board president. Okay, thank you, Dr. Butts. The Board of Education agrees thank you, to send this resolution to each state representative and state senator who represents individuals within the boundaries of the school district and to the governor of the state of Michigan to seek the swift and decisive passing of legislation and accompanying appropriations to fully and equitably fund all public schools in the state of Michigan, which must include but should not be limited to the following. A, raise an additional $4.5 billion for Michigan schools via a tax on Michigan's wealthiest residents. Increase the per pupil allowance from the school aid fund to match a current 2024 inflation adjusted rate of the recommended per pupil allowance determined by the SRFC's 2021 fundings. Annually adjust the per pupil allowance to account for inflation. Increase money in the Opportunity Index, Section 31A by 20%, an increase of $186.4 million so that schools, especially those with concentrated poverty, have more money for quality instruction, behavioral and restorative coaches, early literacy materials, home visits, attendance interventionists. Ensure 31 AA mental health dollars remain at 300 million and at least half be required to be spent on student mental health. Restrict 31 AA funds so as not to pay for school resource officers. Provide $10 million to fund school transportation for students experiencing foster care or homelessness. Double the amount of money appropriated for English learner students from 39 to 80 million. Provide a $15 million investment in the 17 Michigan cities where Black residents are the majority to fund a community-based participatory research study with the goal of better understanding how we retain and recruit Black and Brown teachers and piloting of culturally responsive interventions based on this research, thereby increase recruitment and retention of Black and Brown teachers and increase Black and African American student achievement. Invest $2 million to create long-term solutions and interventions within the aforementioned 17 Michigan cities, respective school districts to address the school to prison pipeline, forgive outstanding debt for Flint Community Schools. This resolution shall not be construed to conflict with any existing Michigan or federal law.
Madam President,
Treasurer Creighton?
I make a motion to table this, due to heavy language. I'm in full support of, the initial resolution to fully fund Michigan schools. However, I am concerned with some of the language and the facts and the statistics that I'm not able to, really intelligently, support without really knowing and fact checking.
All right, so Treasurer Creighton has put a motion on the floor to table. Does she have a support to that?
Support.
All right, so the motion has been made by Treasurer Creighton and supported by Trustee Bowens to table the resolution. Treasurer Creighton, you'll have to call a vote for it.
Okay.
And it's no spot on the slab, but we can notate.
I created one.
Oh, you, oh.
I
what?
did.
President Robinson, is there a date for the tabling? She's tabling until
Yeah.
when?
So the table is to, again, if the language is to support the resolution to fully fund the schools, I was comfortable with that, but with all of the language, the legislation, all of those things, it can be, considered to be political or to be, accusatory.
She was asking, do you have a date? Like, do you
So,
have a
I
work
would
session?
say the date would be I don't have a date, it's the resolution. I think the resolution is too loaded. So my tabling is to potentially propose a new resolution that's not loaded, but that's just saying what we were initially asked, which was to support fully funding of schools.
Okay, so essentially you're saying, you're asking that the resolution be edited and adjusted and brought back to the board. You want a table to give time for that.
Correct, because I don't want to vote no, because I do support it.
Understood. Okay,
President Robinson.
yes.
Is there a date?
So I would ask, can you try to work on it so we can try to do it for the work session?
I don't know what what Treasurer Creighton, like what issues that she has.
Can you all
Oh.
connect with that offline? Or I can be a
Work
liaison to
session,
facilitate
what
that,
date?
the 28th of May. My phone is, I believe so, am I correct? The 28th of May.
If the board votes to table it, I vote that we move forward, but if the board ends up voting to table it, then
Okay. So my vote was yes, Treasurer Creighton.
Vice President Bowens.
Yes.
Treasurer Creighton, yes. Trustee Rocket Martin. Trustee Gavin.
no.
Motion carried.
Okay.
Can I? This is-
Can you say something? It's not technically. Go ahead.
It might be helpful if Treasurer Creighton could kind of read through and specifically circle or highlight her concerns.
On the
So
word,
that,
on
you
the,
know, it won't be like a
So the,
hunt and find the parts of the document that are really concerning to you. If you could just highlight them, that would help. I
in the
believe,
Google Doc, I think is what she's saying.
so,
clarification.
so just for, obviously, for a table item, once it passes, there's no discussion. But what I will say is if we're supporting a resolution to fully fund schools, that's the language that I'm willing to support. The facts, I can't intelligently support facts that I have no knowledge about, costs that I have no reference to make. And so for me, as a Board of Education, I don't know that it's our work to actually dig that deep and to put those kind of demands out there. I think, it would be my recommendation, and I'm only one person, to just leave it as, explained, which is a resolution to support, fully funded Michigan schools. When we've supported other resolutions and demands or, letters of support, I should say, letters of support. We did not get into the political language. We did not make specific demands to my knowledge. And so I'm just not comfortable doing that at this particular time with seeing a resolution hot on the floor. I would say that would be something that I could support, but obviously I'm one vote. If it's a new resolution brought to the board, we could then talk about it again, but I think working on just not having heavy language will probably be a good recommendation. We are working on branding, we are working on our relationship with our ISD and our state and federal government. And I think it's important that we don't get involved in, demanding conversations. Obviously, if we say, oh, we want you to fully fund schools, I think without getting involved in the other conversation could really help us not, stir up other issues or make accusations as if we know that those things are true or not true.
Okay, so we'll continue to, we'll work on that offline.
I'm confused, President Robinson. Are we in a conversation?
No, we actually are at.
With table and we weren't supposed to be able to have the conversation.
When you table, you put a motion on the floor to table, you get a second, and then you just have the vote. There's no conversation, and we kind of had additional conversation after, which I allowed so we would know the direction that we're proceeding. But I think, and I've asked a couple of times, I think it would probably be most helpful if we connect offline to try to get it figured out, but I'm not sure if you had one quick clarification question, or was it a follow-up question for Treasurer Creighton?
I would just ask that whatever language on the document that's, we're asking for funds to fully fund our schools. There's certain areas that are needed. If there are any specific items on that resolution that you feel are, I forgot the term that you used.
All of it that's heavy, I would say, again, if we bring the resolution forward, we can then vote on it again. That's what
Okay,
tabling
so-
does.
inflammatory, I think, like whatever that word was that you used, that's made it seem as though it was strong language. If you could just, if you would be willing to cross out whatever you don't want in the resolution that you don't want us to be requesting. And then we can go from there if it's still a strong resolution.
So I understand what she's saying, trustee Gavin. I work on, Dr. Bus, if you could give me and trustee Gavin editing rights, and we can both work on the document and bring it back.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll bring that back to the board. It'll probably just be some cutting out of it or something like that. Okay, so we're technically at open public comment. Was there anyone still present that would like to make a public comment today? All right, hearing none, we'll proceed. We are at superintendent announcements and comments. Dr. Butts.
Thank you, Madam President. I was giving you sharing rights there.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Just want to thank the board for all the support that I've been given, and I thank the board for the work that we've been doing so far. I think we have some great work that we're doing. We have a lot of work ahead of us this summer to prepare, to recruit, and to get a lot of things settled. Look forward to some updates from me this week coming. Haven't I had a chance to touch base with many of you this week, but I've talked to several of you, so I'll be sending out some more updates.
Thank you. Next, we're at board member announcements and comments. Trustee Gavin.
I was wondering if we had an opportunity to ask Dr. Bus any questions about announcements.
You have a follow-up form about it?
Just had a question about the, was there a survey that went out to teachers?
Dr. Butts.
Wondering if there was a survey that went out to teachers or staff and if they had the ample time to complete that survey.
So I know during last Friday's DPP D5, there were several surveys. So we did the Human survey, and we did what was the other survey? Culture and climate survey. So I haven't gotten the data for that as of yet, but I will give an update on that.
Okay, thank you.
All right, trustee Gavin, you have the floor if you'd like to make a comment or an announcement.
Yes, thank you. Want to thank everybody for coming out. And I also want to thank the folks who are on Zoom. I do have a recommendation that we take a look at the culture and climate survey and make sure that the staff actually had the allotted time to complete that survey. I do want to reiterate the power of the equity resolution. I hope that our board will vote in support of it. Would have been a great opportunity for us to stand in solidarity with Flint Community Schools. It would have been a great opportunity for us to weigh in on fully funding schools and, you know, special education, students in poverty, foster care. So many opportunities here, just like there was an opportunity for us to weigh in on debt forgiveness. So hopefully we'll have opportunity to look at it, and hopefully we will have an opportunity to pass this before the House and the Senate make their decisions on school budgeting. I definitely would not put anything before this board that would cause us harm. It would have only helped to bring in more dollars for the things that our students need. Just want to say that I hope that we will take this opportunity to look at how we are recruiting and retaining our students, recruiting and retaining our staff, and take this very, very seriously. Our children are hurting, our staff are hurting, and you know, if you have the job to create this environment in which we can create solutions for our children and our staff, it's so important to take that seriously. It's so important to include them in the solution. It's so important for all of our students and our 99% Black students to feel like they're a part of the plan. I have to say that I was hurt by that. I was hurt to see that they weren't included in the recruitment and the retention plan. I'm happy to see that we're looking to recruit our Hispanic population. Dr. Pearson had helped start an international academy when he was here. It was amazing. And I believe that that's something that we should do again, and I think that it will help attract the Spanish-speaking population. And we need to do what is necessary for the students here. The 99% of students here who are often forgotten. That's extra loud. Who are often forgotten. Y'all have a good evening.
Thank you, trustee Gavin. Trustee Rocket Martin.
Yes, I would sincerely hope that we will send out that survey to see.
I need you to
who-
speak closer in the mic.
Oh, yeah, send out a survey to the students that we have so that we can get our hands on who's coming back for next year. So that we can have a more specific target of who we need to target to come back to our district or to retain in our district. And I think that keeps us from just being all over the place. I think we also need to start, there are good things happening in our school districts. In our school district, there are very good things happening in our individual buildings. And I think we need to start highlighting that more, you know, on the website. And thank you for what you do. But when we attend these events, take pictures and, you know, send them to Mr. Corson, send them to Ms. Martinez, so that they can be posted on our website. I think the greatest thing to bring kids back into our district is the fact that you are doing something with their students in your district. I can remember being at Stern Brunson as a teacher. The first year I got there, we had maybe like about 300 students. The next year, we had about 750 students. So, I mean, because of the activities that we do with our kids, and our buildings are doing activities with students, that's, you know, winning them over. And I think mouth to mouth, students will tell other students, parents will talk to other parents, and they will bring their kids back into our district. I think the thing that's most detrimental to us is how we portray our district to the public. We are doing great things in our districts. Our kids are doing good things in the building. If you come out to the activities that the building sponsor, you will see our kids doing great things. They are doing great things. And so I'd like to leave us with that if we stay positive, we can make it in our district. And if we stay positive in our buildings, if our teachers stay positive, it's one step at a time, but we'll get there, But if we keep trying and we will be even more successful than we are. We have to stay positive. We have to keep working with our kids. We have to know that we have great kids. We have to know that they are capable of doing great things. When we did the college tour, the colleges were amazed at what we took with us, the kids, how well they were behaved, how smart they were, you know, and how we were able to see college kids that came from Benton Harbor the year before on campus, studying, doing their work.
Oh, that's amazing.
So yes, it's amazing. And it's great to see our kids are performing and they're going to college and they have a vision for their lives. They want to do things. They want to do great things for themselves. And I think if we continue to nurture that, our kids, Benton Harbor will be top of the list.
Thank you, trustee Rocket Martin. Treasurer Creighton.
No comment.
Okay, Vice President Bowen.
It was great to thank you all for coming out. It was great to see our kids in Benton Harbor representing in true fashion. Blossom time. It was just great to see that. You know, I think we need to pay attention if we're talking about asking the people for a bond. St. Joe, Coloma, both lost their bonds. And it's a very interesting story. I think Water Elite lost one when they tried to do it. Why is that? And what can we do to earn the trust and promote the district? As a taxpayer, why would I want to invest in a bond? And how do we get that story out? It's a story to be told. That's even with the recruitment. You know, when we want to talk about recruitment, as I stated, we have to be bold, creative, and not this tiger. You know, I believe Scott, one of our former employees, showed us the tiger on life support. And we have to be a tiger that has that full roar and not on life support. You know, I was just thinking as we were voting on that Northern University of Michigan, I'm sorry, don't kill me, Michigan State trip. Back in the day, we used to have 2 busloads. I remember when I was in the 7th or 8th grade, and we would go to Northern Michigan University. It was a long bus ride. It's just sad to see that we haven't seen that in a few years, and we got to stay up there in the UP for a week. I would like to see that come back if we can. I know Whirlpool was sponsoring that program before. Besides that, I want us to stay focused. Let's not be distracted, and let's continue to do the work that we set out to do. Thank you.
Thank you. I am going to keep my comment brief. I just thank you all for the board members who were able to attend this evening. Thank you to Treasurer Clayton and Dr. Butts for stepping in as secretary, so we could try to get through the meeting. I appreciate everyone's patience. I'm extremely proud that the Miss Benton Harbor, who is also Miss Blossom Time, Mr. Benton Harbor, as well as the Youth of the Year, were all Benton Harbor High School students. I think it sends a powerful message about what our students are capable of. And so I'm thankful that they were able to receive that recognition in our parade. And so I look forward to great things. And I'm going to make my Fridays Benton Harbor Area School Day. It's my only day off, but I do see that there's a need for me to be a little bit more present for support. So I'm going to try to define a window of time every Friday that I utilize for my board president duties in this season. And so if you all want to get one of those slides for a one-on-one, or if it's a meeting that Dr. Buzz is needing, Fridays is going to be the district days. I would say after about 10 a.m. because I do want to sleep in a little bit. So that's all I have. I'm going to ask, is there a motion to adjourn at this time?
So moved.
Is there a second or support? The motion has been made by Treasurer Creighton and supported by Vice President Bowens. Any questions, comments, or concerns? All right, hearing none. Treasurer Creighton, can you please call the vote?
President Robinson,
Yes.
Vice President Bowens,
Yes.
Treasurer Creighton, yes. Trustee Rocket Martin,
Yes.
Trustee Gavin,
Yes.
motion carried.
All right, I call this meeting adjourned officially at 8:04 p.m. Have a great evening.
What time did it start?